We're so privileged. This is called Investing in Your Destiny, courtesy of the Youth Campus Project in conjunction with the Masters of the Business. Masters of the Business is a group of former corporate workers that continue to interact and engage from different parts of the globe. So we're privileged to have you here. This is a follow-up, like I said before, of the session that we had on the 19th of July, where we had introduction on this project that Trevor wants to talk about, take us through. So a number of you went through, were there during that time, but several other people have joined us today. And we want to see how we can take this to the next level. Perhaps you're asking yourself, I'm not a youth. Why am I here? I can assure you that you're in the right place, because over 75% of the population in Africa and across the globe are young people. So you're either a youth, you're dealing with a youth, or what you are doing is going to be consumed by the young people. So it is very important that you actively engage and see how you can realign yourself to make sure that you become more relevant to the young. Just to introduce Trevor Waldo, is a renowned keynote speaker, over 30 years hands-on experience building organization teams, writing books, educating corporates across Africa, Europe, Americas, amongst others. He formed the international NGO, Emerging Leaders. You can get it on that website, that enabled young people and corporates lead themselves out of poverty. He called it hopelessness, the wall of hopelessness. I hope Trevor will ever get time to talk about the wall of hopelessness. Now, working in over 25 countries, and he retired from there, and now more recently has established the Youth Campus Project.
I am delighted to be with you. I'm delighted to be with you wherever you are. And as Hyven has just said, you showed up. You've showed up, and that's it. That's a massive leadership step. You showed up to write your own story. And I want to start by thanking Ivan and his team for hosting tonight and the next 12 weeks. He has and his team have been priceless in making this happen, in sharing the vision and carrying the energy and the responsibility for making it, creating the platform so that we can have 12 Wednesday evenings or Wednesday mornings for some of you together between now and Christmas. Now, I'm going to share my screen. There's a number of things we're going to do tonight. I'm going to talk for a little bit, and then I'm going to invite my special guest this evening to join me. And then we'll have a period of question and answer. And then I want to just kind of talk about what are next steps, because tonight is an introduction. It's an introduction to the Youth Campus Project. Many of you, not all of you, but many of you have already signed up for the Youth Campus Project. If you haven't, I've put Youth Campus Project's website in the top of the chat box so you can get it there. You need to sign up and you can begin this online journey of changing your own life for free. I created this project so that you, for no cost at all, can work on your own or with friends to develop your heart and character. And tonight's an introduction, and from next week onwards, we'll actually start looking at some of the specific challenges in the Youth Campus Project. One of the things I felt was sometimes we just need someone to hold our hand and lead us through the next step. So you've signed up for the Youth Campus Project. That's step one. Step two is you begin. And what I did was I explained 2 months ago, we did a launch event like this. And I explained in that launch event all about the Youth Campus Project, why it's so important and how it works. If you weren't there for that event, again, if you go into the chat box and you scroll to the top of the chat, you will see I put a link in there to that introductory session. So watch that between now and next week if you weren't here last time. So let's begin. I'm going to share a couple of slides, not many, with you. If we can do that. There we go. Hopefully you can see my slides. Right. So let's start up here on this one here. What I want you to imagine is those little green dots are a rock. Each one is a rock. So I want you to imagine every 5 minutes today, since you woke up, you have picked up a rock. So pick up a rock, 5 minutes. Pick up another rock, 5 minutes. Pick up another rock, 5 minutes. By the end of one day, you will have built a wall of rocks. And if you keep doing that day after day, after 1 week, you will have built a room or a building made of rocks. And if you keep on doing that every 5 minutes, every day, every week, across your lifetime, you would end up with a huge high-rise building built of these rocks. Now, each of those rocks represents a decision that you made today, because you've been making decisions all day. Some of them have led to thinking one thing and not another thing. Some of those decisions have led you to feel one thing and not feel another thing. Some of those decisions have led you to take an action in one direction and not in another direction. Every 5 minutes at least, you are making decisions and choices. And every one of those choices is building your life. It's building your future. You see, every decision you make is based on your heart and your character. Let me explain what heart and character is. Your heart is your motivation. Who does this serve, this decision? Who is it for? Is this for me, to make me feel better, or is it for someone else? Who does it serve? Why am I doing this? What's my purpose? That's what your heart is. And your character is every single choice that you make. You'll see the picture on this slide is of someone using a piece of metal to engrave their name on another piece of metal. That process of engraving is the root word from which we get the word character. And one famous Greek philosopher, Heraclitus, said this: your character is your destiny. Let me go back to this slide. That means that every rock you've picked up today, every 5 minutes, every decision you've made around your heart and character has been building your destiny. If you want to know what your life is going to look like when you're 50, 60, 70 years old, you just need to look at the decision you made 10 minutes ago, or 20 minutes ago, or 2 hours ago, because every single one of those is shaping who you are becoming. Your character, your heart is going to shape your destiny. So then the question is, how do you make a decision every 5 minutes? And that's why I've got the picture here of a compass. You see, you use a compass when you need to find your way. Do I go this way or do I go that way? Do I get involved in this conversation with this person? Do I walk away? Do I allow myself to get angry? Do I choose forgiveness? Do I do this just to make myself feel better, or do I do this to feed a group of children? All the time. How do I know what is the right thing? We have a compass. We call it a moral compass. The compass helps us decide what decisions we make. And the compass for us is set on who do you want to become in your life? Do you want to become a person of positive influence? Do you want to become part of the world's solution, or do you want to become part of the world's problem? That's the choice we make. And we need this compass every tiny little 5-minute decision we make in order to determine what is this direction we are building in our lives. Who am I becoming? What will the legacy be that I am leaving? Now, as I say, I'm going to turn this slide deck off now. As I say, 2 months ago, we did a launch event where I explained all about the Youth Compass project. For those of you who were not there, in essence, it was this. A number of years ago, I wrote a book called Becoming Mandela, where I looked at the life of Nelson Mandela. And one of the things I discovered about Nelson Mandela is his heart and his character shaped the leader that he was and the legacy that he left us. It was all heart and character. And as I began to look at all the qualities of his heart and character, I realized that although Nelson Mandela was very special, all of the qualities that made him special, you can learn. Every one of them. So Nelson Mandela was working on who he was becoming. Well, so can you. Nelson Mandela was inspiring. Well, so can you. Nelson Mandela was full of wisdom. Well, so can you. So I pulled out 22 characteristics of the life of Nelson Mandela and said, look, you too can become your own version of Nelson Mandela. Someone who leads their life and leads others positively for positive good. Someone who loves, and what love means is you go beyond yourself. You live a life that doesn't just serve you, it serves others. And it leaves a legacy that even when you're dead, your life story will continue to be written in the lives of others. So I took all of that and I put it into the Youth Compass project, and I've made it free for you anywhere in the world. And you can do this on your own, or you can do it in small groups and work together and encourage each other. You can find an elder who you respect to join you and be like a wisdom supervisor. And we'll talk about this along the way. So all tonight is basically an introduction to this journey. Excuse me. Now, each week, I want to interview someone. These will all be people that I've met in my time working and living in Africa or India, when I was leading emerging leaders. And tonight, I am delighted to welcome, which I hope he is here, is Peter Waithaka. So I met Peter and in Kenya, in Nairobi. I met him in a place in Nairobi called Dandora. And when I went into Dandora, I had to go with the armed guard. And it was a very, very dangerous place. And people were saying, what is a Mzungu doing in Dandora? But in that world, I met Peter and a group of his friends. And we have been writing a story together ever since. Now, Peter, are you there? I need Peter to unmute himself.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Great. Can you pull your screen down a bit? We can only see half of your head, Peter.
Absolutely.
There we go. There's my man. So I want to honor Peter in so many different ways for the work he has done on his own heart and character, how it's changed his own life, his own family, and the influence he has had amongst the young people in Kenya. So Peter, maybe just very, very quickly, we could start with just tell something of your story, because when I met you, you were pretty extreme. You said you didn't think you were going to make it. So
Yeah.
just give us the 2-minute version of your personal story.
Thank you so much, Trevor, again for this opportunity. When I met Trevor, I had just been deported, like 2 years been deported from Turkey. My life was hopeless. I had 3 kids, and I was in that verge whereby with no tertiary education, only secondary education, And looking around my community, no one had ever thrived. And for me, the only possible way for me to forget all these was drugs and alcohol. So by the time we were meeting with the Trevor, I was an alcoholic. And those kind of people say, don't be like those kids. They don't have focus. That is who I was when I met Trevor.
Wow, quite a turnaround, Peter. Quite a turnaround. So, Peter, let me just talk through a few questions with you. My first question to you is this: what do you think are the issues that young people are facing today?
The issue young people are facing today, they're almost common in all countries.
Peter, your microphone, there's something gone quiet on your microphone.
Can you hear me?
That's it. That's perfect. Start again.
Yes.
Start again.
Let me put off my video because I think the bandwidth
For
on
sure.
this side. Yes.
No problem.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well.
Yes. Okay. The issues or the challenges that young people are facing, especially in Kenya, is the issue of number one, unemployment or underemployment. Because according to the statistics, 60% of youth are unemployed or are in unstable informal work. Another challenge or issue that young people are facing is the negative environment and corruption. When I say negative corruption, negative environment is the community that they come from, these slums, and the daily exposure to corruption. Because for a young person in Nairobi, he might see scenes of corruption more than 7 times in a day, bribes being given away, policemen coming to take money in liquor stores, while then their road transit, corruption is taking place. So it becomes more like a normal thing. There is a challenge, an issue of mental health and hopelessness. There is a high rate of depression, substance abuse, crime, and suicide among young people. And especially in Kenya, there's a lot of young girl being murdered, things like that. There's a lack of opportunities, a lack of relevant skill and access to opportunity. You see, there can be opportunity, but access to opportunity. And then another issue young people are facing is lack of role model gap, because the kind of people young people see most of the time are the corrupt leaders and the issue of quick money as a lifestyle. So almost like everyone, they just want a quick fix. So those are the major challenges that young people are facing currently. To mention, Bharat.
That's a huge challenge. And from my conversations in other countries, I think people would agree these are many shared challenges. And when we think about the population size of youth in all of these countries that are represented this evening, to give so many challenging issues with such a large percentage of the population, this is a big thing we're facing here. So let's focus in a bit, Peter. Let me start with you personally, and then we'll talk more generally. How important has it been for you in shaping and turning your life around to invest in your heart and your character? Just tell something of your own story.
Like you said previously, you see, our heart is likened like a garden, in that if you don't pull out the weeds, they are going to overgrow and they are going to choke the plant in you. So initially, before I met you, Trevor, I was stuck in addiction of drug abuse. This was bang, this sniffing tobacco. I was using alcohol. And for me, that was my day-to-day life until when I met you. And I realized that I have a pen, I can write a different story. But for me to write a different story, there is a person that I need to become in terms of not only my heart, but also my character. So there are things that I personally needed to intentionally start doing. And that, for me, my case was the kind of person I wanted people to see me, not as an alcoholic, not like a person who has lost hope, but a person who is focused and a person who can be a role model to the community. So for me, my journey began when I decided that there is a new version that I want to create for myself, a version whereby in my absence, people will be able to say that we saw somebody who was drunk, but now the same person does advocacy to tell people that it is possible for you to become sober again. Because majority of the time, the reason why I was getting drunk is because I was masking myself and I didn't want to see the responsibility that were ahead of me. And those responsibilities were things like maybe just taking care of my family. Those responsibilities were like paying the rent. And I used to blame a lot of people, like the government. I used to blame even my parents at some point. And that's when I decided that I'll even go back to school. I will take myself back to university so that at no point will I ever say that I lacked an opportunity because of a certain skill. So journey of becoming, if you don't work in your heart and character, it's more like building a muscle. It's an in-day thing, in that even today, even as I say that I quitted taking alcohol, there are those moments and challenges whereby you get your friends who are maybe drinking, and it's not bad, but I know if I get myself back there, I might get stuck the way I was long period ago.
Wow, thank you. So, Peter, if you were to talk to young people that you know about heart and character, what would their reaction be? Would they think, wow, this is great? Or would they think, wow, I'm not really interested, or this is crazy, or what? What do you think people's reaction would be?
Majority of young people, because maybe they've not come to the understanding why heart and character is so much important, probably they might overlook at it, thinking that this is not something for us. But personally, I know when it comes to the issue of heart and character, you see, I talked earlier about the issue of hopelessness and the anchor against corruption. There is no way in Kenya we are going to fight against corruption and hopelessness if we do not address the issue of heart and character. And what are those things about heart and character? These are things concerning justice. We are talking about speaking the truth. We are talking about integrity. So if you don't address heart and character, we might, obviously, we'll always have leaders who are not going to lead us with integrity. Another thing, if you don't address the issue of heart and character, many young people face repeated failures. There is job rejection, there is poverty, there is broken families. And again, without resilience, and we know resilience is a component of heart and character, how are they going to bounce back? Okay, even when it comes to leadership and service, we know the way we train even as emerging leaders, leadership exists for the benefit of others. And currently, many people focus more on skills, but we know skill alone does not make a leader. In Kenya and other nations, we have so many educated leaders who lack integrity, and they're not heart-centered leaders who, for I don't want to use such a negative word, but they are more interested on themselves more than the interest of others. They are more takers and givers. So even today, currently, even when we talk about generosity, there are few people who are from deep down in their heart true generous. The people we think they're generous because maybe we've not addressed the issue of heart and character, they only give to be seen they are giving, only to be applauded, only for media to show that they are doing something sustainable. So for me, heart and character is not something that is optional. It is foundational.
Wow, that's really clear. Thank you so much. So let me just move on to the subject of role models, because you just said something that's quite startling. You said a young person might see up to 7 acts of corruption every day. And I wonder whether people from other countries would say they see the same. So the role models that they are getting are one of ineffective heart and character that will lead people towards breaking trust, breaking down business, breaking down families. I'm interested in the role of mentors in young people's life, role models and elders. Do you think young people have elders, role models and mentors in their life? And if they wanted one, where would they go and find a good one?
Thank you so much, Trevor, for that good question. The reality is that most young people in the informal settlement, they don't have accessible mentors. Yes, I know they are mentors, but there's a difference between having accessible mentors. You see, currently parents are struggling to survive. Schools are overstretched. And normally society often showcase negative role models, the corrupt politicians, the celebrities, the floating of wealth. Even right now, when you go to the social media, the TikTok, the people who are perceived to be making it, if you don't flash, if you don't show the kind of life that you're living, the cars, traveling these bigger places, the big watch and the big phones, that is the kind of modeling that especially young people are seeing. So there is that gap when it comes to accessible mentorship, that young people, there is that gap. When young people, I know, like for few who have gotten the opportunity to get mentors, they can really thrive. But currently, accessible mentors who can create a relationship with this young person and help this person grow and become the person maybe who will be an influencer in the community, that person is lacking. Or if he's there, he's not accessible.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much, Peter. So, Peter, my last question to you is this. I know you have been running some pilot programs of the Youth Compass Project for young people in Kenya. So can you tell us how have they been going? How have you set them up? And what's the feedback?
When I did the pilots, I did at our local church and some friends just we live around with. And the way I set up was, for us, we have a WhatsApp group. And just the same way, they just register through the Youth Compass project. And we decided to open a WhatsApp group. That is one thing. And every week, we'll just take one challenge. The 22 challenge, and just take one challenge and watch the video, read it, internalize it. There's a journal log where you write, and we just try during that particular week that we've done the Youth Compass project, especially let's say like start with an end. What does that mean? The person that I'm becoming. So within a week, we'll just jot down within the WhatsApp group some of the things that we've done, or the way, for instance, it was a day of generosity. It was a day we are learning about forgiveness. Whom have you forgiven? And we'll just give example. Where did you find yourself today walking in humility? And we'll just do that so that we can be able to build that muscle. One thing that I noted is that when you do it by yourself, it becomes a challenge. But when you do it as a team, it becomes easier. And there's that accountability. If you didn't do anything, you are a leader, you better tell us the truth that I was so much engaged. I wasn't able to do it. But by the time we are meeting next time, remember we are doing it individually, but the feedback, we do it at the WhatsApp group. And some of the feedback that I've received, some people who didn't see themselves as leaders, some people who probably because of their current situation, they didn't see as if they have money, so they didn't think that they could inspire people. They started inspiring other people. There are people who now have a clear direction of where they want to go in life. So there are those smaller things that you can attach to, and you see that for sure, the way I knew this person, you can see he's walking in humility, because previously, the way I used to know him, maybe he will talk with a lot of pride. And now something has changed. And why is it changing? It is because, as we said, you need to live what you are learning. It's not a theory thing, it's a practical thing. And for me, just to quote some few feedbacks, there is a young person who said, just a statement, and now I now ask myself, who am I becoming? Not just how to survive. Another one said, I never thought I could be a leader, but now I see leadership start with me. So those moments of now waiting for others to start an initiative, they can be able to see themselves as there's also been 3-4 things that I can summarize. There has been transformation in terms of thinking, number one. Number two, I've seen shift in behavior. And I've seen inspiration and purpose. You see, when youth feel hopeful, you can be able to see it or hear it by words like, I now believe I can build a future even if I am in the slum. And they also start challenging the status quo. And the status quo can be maybe within this community of ours, it has always been dirty. But is there a way we can do to improve it, because we are in this place, so that by the time we are leaving, we leave a legacy?
Very good. Peter, thank you so much for your time this evening. It's always, always, always a pleasure talking with you. And I look forward to being with you in person again in a few months' time. But for now, I really appreciate you giving us your time this evening.
Thank you so much, Trevor. Again, I really want, on behalf of myself and emerging leaders as a family, we also have part of emerging leaders, new young people in this platform today.
Great.
And in the chat, you'll be able to see them, and they've already said hi. And when you come, you'll be able to meet them. So
meet them.
thank you so much.
I look forward to it very much indeed. Thanks very much, Peter.
Thank you so much.
Right. So what I want to do now, because as I said, this week is an introduction. The aim of this whole masterclass is to get you doing what Peter's group have been doing, is actually using the Youth Compass project. I'm just trying to get you started. So what I would like to do is just open the conversation up to questions. And the questions, I would like you to limit the questions to any question you've got that would help you to get started in using the Youth Compass project. If you've never even signed up, at the very top of the chat, you will see I have put the link to the Youth Compass project website. Okay. I'll put it also in Emerging Leaders website for those of you who are interested, but let's take it. So when you ask a question, if you unmute yourself and then talk to me, and we'll deal with your question. So over to you for some questions.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Trevor.
Hi, who is this speaking?
Okay, this is Isa Walaimano from Zambia.
Isa, good to hear you.
Okay, thank you. Mine, I don't know if it's really a question or a concern. In the preparation for the program, we quite invited quite a number of people.
Yeah.
So there's some people who are new to the program. So
Yes.
I would love if you can introduce the Youth Campus project again to them so that
Right.
it's not lost. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you, Issa. That's a really good question. For those of you who are joining who were not here 2 months ago, the first thing I would say, Issa, if you scroll right to the top of the chat box, you will see I put a link in there of the introductory launch we did 2 months ago. And in that, it's 1 hour long. I would advise you get a group of people together and watch it together in the next week, if you can. Because in that, I explain why this issue of heart and character is so important to your whole life. It will shape your future. And the second half of that talk, I actually practically show you how to go onto the Youth Compass Project website, how to sign in, how to begin. So number one is get a group of people and watch that video together. Number two is just in summary. That's all I can do right now. In summary, is this. If you go onto the Youth Compass Project website, you click on it, there is a video. It's 2 minutes. Watch that video. That will tell you in 2 minutes why this is so important. Number two, you will see a button on that page that talks about register. You can register on there. You just enter your name, your details, and you sign up to get into the Youth Compass project. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's totally free. So you click on register, you go in. Now you are in the Youth Compass project. When you register, I receive an email and I personally send every single person a welcome email. So I do that. When you get in there, you will see that the whole Youth Compass project is organized in 6 lessons, which have 22 challenges in them. And it has a final section which has 6, it talks about 6 like commitments we make to life. All of these have come from the research I did into the life of Nelson Mandela and a lifetime of training leaders. So I suggest, Issa, you go in, have a look for yourself. I know that Peter is willing to support and help anyone. Peter, who I just spoke to. Peter's willing to support and help anyone to get started as well. If you have any problems once you get started, then send me an email and I will talk with you. I hope that's enough for the moment, Issa.
There's Jeremiah. Sorry,
Yeah.
Jeremiah wants to say something.
So yeah, now like for us who are joining, like personally, particularly me, who is joining today, and it is I've realized that you have moved the distance a while. How can we catch up either from the beginning of the things that you've ever learned so that we can move on the space?
Great. Yeah, Jeremiah, thank you for your question. You can catch up very quickly, Jeremiah. You just need to do 2 things. Number 1, scroll to the very top of the chat box and click on the link where I say this is the introductory session. Click on that with your friends and watch it together in the next 7 days before next Wednesday. So that's number 1. Number 2 is go on to the Youth Compass Project website, and the link is up there at the top of the chat box as well. Click on that and register, and then you'll see for yourself what's there. And then if you do all of that and get yourself ready, get some friends ready, and then next week we will begin with challenge number 1. Okay, so next week I'm actually going to get into the content. We're going to take a challenge next week, and we're going to take one challenge every week from now till Christmas. All right, so that's the fast way to get in there. I can see.
All right.
Thank you, Jeremiah. I can see there's a question from Franklin Maramba. How do we encourage teamwork and ownership in work environments? Well, that's a big subject around teamwork, but let's focus on teamwork for doing the Youth Campus project. Gather a group of young people, show them the 2-minute video on the Youth Campus project website. All you do is click on the website, and right in front of you is a 2-minute video. Watch the video with them and say to them, what do you think? What do you think? Are you interested? And then from then, you can show them the introductory talk and bring them along next week. Okay? Is there any other question? Anything else? Someone here is what is the passionate, someone says, what is the passionate why for you in the Youth Campus project? My passionate why is the same as it always has been. I cannot bear to see human potential wasted. I cannot bear it. I started Emerging Leaders because I saw a 6-year-old girl scratching in the mud, getting one meal every 2 or 3 days at best. And I said to myself, this is not okay. What can we do about it? So all of my work has been, how do we create a world where young people start leading their own lives and making a positive difference within their life, their family, and their community, so that they start addressing the issues in their communities, and they start generating their own income, lead themselves out of poverty. But what I realized at the very center of all of that is, if your heart and character is wrong, everything will be wrong. Every single decision you make will go in the wrong direction. It will move in the direction of you and selfishness and hopelessness. So the Youth Campus project is saying, if you want to shape your future, your destiny, you have to invest in your heart and character. It's still the most important lesson for me. I am 68 years old next week. Can you believe that? 68. And I can tell you that every 5 minutes, I am still picking up a rock that is a decision around heart and character to shape my own future. It will never end. And I wanted to get a group of young people across the world with fit heart and character to be the change makers in this and the next generation. So that's what I'm passionate about. I see another question here from Rajab Juma. As a young person, how can I encourage other youths who've got a fixed mindset in their life to take part in the Youth Campus journey? I always think, Rajab, the best thing is to say to people is don't tell them, invite them. Invite them to come along with you. I always used to joke with people, Peter talked about used to smoking and sniffing bang, and I always used to say to people, are you smoking what you're selling? You see, some people are so busy telling everybody else what to do that they don't do it themselves. So the best way to influence people to come into the Youth Campus journey is to begin yourself, begin it, and then invite people along. You know what changes people's mindsets? Kindness. Kindness. And that's an invitation. When you start telling people this is what you should do, that is not kindness. That doesn't change people's minds. But a kind invitation softens people's hearts, opens people's hearts and their interest and their curiosity. Any other last questions before I give some concluding thoughts?
Mr. Trevor.
Hi. Is this
Hi,
Tim?
how are you? My name is Timothy.
Timothy? Hi, Timothy. Where are you speaking from?
I'm speaking from Kenya.
Kenya. Welcome, Timothy.
Thank you. Actually, Peter is a very good friend of mine. I was so excited to see him.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I just saw what he talks about, and from your background, I've seen so many books, so many books. I'm so excited. I love books. So my question is related to books. Like, what are the most important books you have read that have really changed
Oh,
who you
that's
are
such
at
a huge.
this point? And let me say this year. Let me not do it like they're huge. Let me say this year. Like if you
Wow.
zoom into this year.
I could talk about this for hours, even this year.
Then that's the question I have. Thank you.
Let me tell you 2 books. So I've just been reading Bill Gates about the climate crisis. Very powerful, very clear, very easy to read. And I just finished a book by the famous Zen master activist Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's called No Mud, No Lotus. So lotus is a beautiful flower, but the beautiful flower grows in the mud. You can't
Okay.
get the flower without the mud. And that's what I'd say is our amazing potential means that we have to deal with the parts of ourselves, our heart and character that we want to avoid. But yes, many books. But thank you for the question. I love it.
Okay.
All right. I just check the time here. All right, we should stop in a minute. Okay, so next week we are going to begin in Challenge 1. And so what are the steps between now and next week? Number 1 is sign into the Youth Compass Project. Watch the 2-minute video and do lesson 1. Lesson 1 is all about introduction. Work out whether you're going to do this on your own or with a group. And gather a group of people together, even around a mobile phone or whatever, and come along next week. So next week, we're going to be looking at challenge number 1 in lesson 2, which is who am I becoming? You see, every one of you is becoming someone. The question is who? Who are you becoming? So we're going to look at that next week. And next week, I have a very special guest, Purity Njue from Kenya. We will have other countries represented, I promise you. Just happens that the first 2 weeks are Kenya. Purity was the first ever Africa leader for emerging leaders. So very special person, huge amounts of experience. And she is going to talk with me about this challenge number 1. Who am I becoming? Now, next week, we're going to start exactly at the same time. We're going to start on time. We're not going to do Africa time. We're going to start on time. We're going to finish on time so that you can get in and get out. So same time and the same link. My aim is to edit this introduction tonight and get it back to you within the next few days so that you can watch it again and share it with some friends, because we would love you to invite more of your friends. Just keep inviting them. It doesn't matter. It's not like you missed week 1 and you can't do this. Let's just keep this building and building. Let's grow the conversation. So finally, I want to thank Ivan again and John, who's been helping with the administration, and the Uganda team, who have been so wonderful in making this whole masterclass possible. So from me, I am delighted to have seen you tonight, and I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday. So thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Trevor, and everyone who is on this call. Thank you. I also extend my thanks to the team that I've been working this with, Byron Walugembe, John Mugerwa, Patricia Kalema Milembe,